Hi, welcome aboard. Our annual visits to the Sydney Boat Show are one of the highlights of our year because not only do we get to say hello to a lot of friends in the marine industry, but Alan Steber always manages to launch a new boat just before the boat show, which he displays at the show. Now this year, of course, he displayed the award-winning Steber 43 sedan cruiser, but he also displayed the first of the commercial versions of the Stebercraft 43. So after the boat show, we were able to borrow a camera boat from Roger Kyle of Abbotsford Point Boat Shed, and that was a highlight in itself. This old 36-foot launch is an ex-harbour launch, and I had great fun driving it around the harbour. It brought back a lot of memories of my childhood in boating when this was about the only sort of boat that you could buy. But we used it to shoot the Steber 43 commercial boat, which belongs to Alan and Penny Ross and is used for charter, and more about that in a minute, out of the Gosford area. The boat is very unusual in a number of ways. Obviously, its overall size for its length, and that means that the volume of the boat is huge, and that affords a tremendous amount of aft cockpit space, which of course is exactly what Alan needed for his charter fishing business. But it's also unusually powered, and whilst you're looking at some beautiful pictures of this boat with magnificent Sydney Harbour backgrounds, I'll tell you a little about the way in which the boat is powered. It has a single 8460 SRM50 Iveco IFO diesel fitted to the boat. Now this delivers 500 horsepower and it is a Fiat-based diesel engine. And it's unusual in a number of ways. Iveco IFO, through Lee's Industries, their Australian distributors, have been putting Fiat engines into Australian manufactured boats for many years now. And the Fiats have come up with quite a remarkable degree of reliability and particularly of performance. One of the reasons for that being that they are light for their horsepower, but they combine that lightness with an extremely high degree of reliability and extremely low fuel consumption. Now that's a formula that's pretty well unbeatable as far as power for large boats is concerned. They underwent a $1 billion development program featuring all the latest technical advances, and this is a totally new series from the ground up. The 8460 is one of 26 engines in the Fiat range, and it offers brilliant performance with outstanding fuel economy. As you can see from these shots of the engine room of the boat, the Fiat is beautifully fitted in, and because again of the overall volume of the boat, there's plenty of access around the engine down in the engine room there. You can actually get down and service and access all areas of the engine without any problems whatsoever. Now, a couple of days after the Sydney Boat Show, we visited Alan and Penny Ross at Davistown, which is the eastern extremity of Brisbane Water, and that's where Sea Eagle is based. And Alan operates the boat on fish and dive charters offshore and also tourism and sightseeing trips in the Brisbane Water, Pittwater and Hawkesbury River areas. And I asked Alan how he feels about living at Davistown.
Oh, it's beautiful down here. Yeah, it'll take a lot to get me out of here.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, people know about Gosford and those areas, but this is what, the southeastern end of Brisbane Water, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Tucked right up the very end of Brisbane Waters. Davistown area, Saratoga, is very nice.
Now, how long does it take you to get the boat to open ocean?
From here, about 20 minutes.
So it's really quite a quick run, isn't it?
It is a quick run from here. Where we pick up our customers is only about 5 minutes from the open ocean.
Is that right, eh?
It's very good.
And tell me, you've fished these waters for quite a long time, chartering, haven't you?
Chartering, I've been working for about 2 years. Fishing out of these areas for about 20 years, so I know it pretty well. Yeah.
And you drive the local ferry on your days off sometimes, I hear?
No, but I learned to drive a single screw by driving the local ferry around here.
Wonderful. Yeah. Great. Tell me, what decided you to choose a Steber?
Well, when I decided to sell my last vessel because it wasn't big enough to do the work I was doing, I looked around to look at second-hand boats. I looked across at the west coast, and I think my first talk with Bruce Steber, when I went up to have a talk with him, he sort of sold me on the boats, and I didn't even know who I was talking to at the time. He was just a nice fellow.
Right.
So I made my mind up from that and having a look at the vessels, and it's not a decision I regret. They've been very, very good.
Because we've covered the history of Steber over the last, we've covered it for the last 16 years, but we've also looked at their early history. And a factor that we haven't mentioned in any great detail is the fact that the Stebers themselves are really nice people. They know their boats, and they really want you to have exactly the boat that suits you and the best quality boat you can possibly have.
That's pretty true. I must have changed my mind half a dozen times in the layout of the boat and the way I wanted it, and yeah, they tolerated me pretty well. They certainly did. They looked after me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, we weren't too far out today. Obviously you've got a number of reefs that you fish offshore.
Yes, I have, quite a lot.
But we still managed to pick up a reasonable bag of fish.
Yeah, we did all right. A little bit quiet today, you know, we didn't have too many hours out there, but we had a late start. But yeah, there's a lot of reefs. There's a few reefs further north and further wider out, and we tend to do pretty well. You can never guarantee fish, but we do all right.
Of course. So tell me exactly the service that you provide to people who come aboard to fish.
Well, basically we have 2 charter runs. We do our first one for fishing is 6 o'clock start in the morning, finish at 1:30. Second one goes out at 2 o'clock and finishes at 7 p.m.
Right, now they're fishing charters.
They're fishing charters, and in that we supply everything: rods, reels, bait, morning tea and afternoon tea. We use all Shimano equipment. We use the best, I feel, in the way of fishing gear. We use the latest in navigational aids, radios, so we're pretty well covered there.
So you've got your marks programmed into your GPS, so you know you're not going to miss them.
They're all in there now. We'll find a few more as time goes on, but
that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's pretty full.
I notice also that you provide a service whereby you'll bait the hook up each time, and you'll also take the fish off the hook, because a lot of people have difficulty with that, and it can be quite hazardous, can't it?
That's right. We cut all the bait. A lot of people don't mind getting their hands dirty and putting their own baits on. If people require that, we do that. We also gill and gut the fish if we have time to do it. Yeah, we tend to look after the customer, that's the bottom line, and providing they have a good day, then we have a good day. Sorry.
That's all right. And where do most of your clients come from?
Most of my clients come from Sydney. A large percentage of my customers are Asian. I have a lot now coming from the central western areas, such as Bathurst, Lithgow, Parkes. So it doesn't take long for the word to get around, and these people come in generally as a large group, right, and stay over for the weekend, and 2 days fishing, then head home again. Wonderful.
So you'll be introducing a lot of your established clients to the new boat. I'm sure they'll be impressed.
Yeah, the phone's been ringing pretty hot since the boat show, so it's been good. It's good for business, and keeps me and the bank manager happy.
It's a wonderful way of life, though, it really is.
Thank you. The other thing we're also doing is Scenic tours out of here. We're providing coastal runs. A lot of people don't like fishing, and I like the thought of being able to provide the opportunity for people to get out and see our coastline from the ocean side, right, yeah, and also to experience some of the marine life and bird life that's actually out there.
Yeah, because it's prolific.
People don't believe how much is out there in the way of life.
And I imagine, of course, you've got full access to the Hawkesbury. You would also do scenic runs up the Hawkesbury if required.
We've been in the Hawkesbury River. On days where the seas are too big or uncomfortable, then the Hawkesbury is certainly a good alternative. But in its own right, it's a beautiful area, so and it's got a good history, so it's going to be good to be able to inform people and show people that area.
Now, in the couple of weeks since we shot that interview with Alan, his charter business has really settled in and he's very busy. And I should also point out that he also picks up from Ettalong, and he picks up from Palm Beach and other areas on Sydney's northern peninsula. So his charter service is also available to people from Sydney. Now, some dimensions on the boat. She has an overall length of 14.42 metres, a beam of 4.7 metres, a draft of 1.3 metres, and depending on her power, she displaces between 12 and 16 tonnes. But one of the most remarkable aspects is the fact that Alan has conducted some quite exacting fuel consumption measurements on the boat, and she does a top speed fully laden of 20 knots, which is quite respectable for a boat of that size and type. And at a cruise of around about 18 knots, she consumes a remarkably low 5 gallons per hour, or around about 22 litres an hour of diesel. Now, that's considerably cheaper to run than, say, a 200 horsepower outboard. So she really is a remarkably efficient boat with her Iveco IFO 500 horsepower diesel. We'll be back right after this break.